Bunnie XO.
She was a Vegas girl.
Bunnie dropping truth.
Bunnie XO.
Dumb Blonde podcast. And Bunnie XO. Kelly Roll's wife, Bunnie XO. Miss Bunnie.
Bunnie XO.
Talk to me about Bunnie XO.
Bunnie.
Got two of the coolest tits.
Is this thing on? What's up, babies? Today we have a rock and roll angel in the house, and I am so honored to have Ms. Melissa Etheridge in the house, baby.
Yay.
How are you doing?
I am fantastic.
Dude, I never thought, this is like a dream come true. I just have to tell you, I don't think you realize how many nights I took my clothes off to your music. I'm telling you, man.
Yes.
Woo! When I was in the strip club, you were my jam on the stage, baby.
My crew used to go, we do a show, and if we had a night off, they would go to the strip clubs, and it would bum them out so much. Every time my songs came on, they'd be like,
No.
The boss is watching us.
No, I love that. We just went to a strip club literally 2 weeks ago, and we went to go see male weenie boys. That's what we call them.
Yeah.
Some guy comes out to a Jelly Roll song. I was like, son of a bitch.
It totally kills everything,
I was like, my lady boner is gone. Lady boner is gone, dude. No, but for real, like because I stripped in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you were on fire.
Thank you.
And
I've had fun in some strip clubs hearing my songs.
I bet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I could only imagine the type of attention you got.
Yeah.
There's so much I want to talk to you about, and it's like I don't even know where to start. So let's kind of start with your childhood. I know that you wrote a book, regarding, it's like an autobiography regarding your childhood and growing up and stuff like that. But for the listeners at home who haven't gotten to read that book yet, let's kind of deep dive a little bit into where you came from and what made you who you are.
Oh. Okay.
I feel like everybody's childhood kind of puts them on a trajectory of where they're going to go in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's where you get like acceptance and appreciation, no matter what happened in your childhood, that it really made who you are today. And that's myself. I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in Kansas. I grew up in Leavenworth, Kansas, which was a larger town in Leavenworth, but a very small town anywhere in the world. And it had a prison there, and that's what we're kind of famous for. It actually had 5 prisons there. I always loved music. I don't remember not ever loving music. My sister was older than me. She played records. My parents played a lot of records. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, so I had the great radio and the great rock and roll. And we had a station in Kansas City. It was, we could hear it in Leavenworth, that used to play everything. It would play country music. I could hear Tammy Wynette, then I could hear Marvin Gaye, then I could hear Led Zeppelin, then I could hear some pop song. And it was truly top 40 radio from everywhere. So I just had all this influx of great music, loved it. My father brought a guitar home when I was 8. My sister was 12. He brought it home for her. And I was like, I loved the Archies. I used to pretend I was Reggie, and they finally let me play, even though they said I was too young and my fingers would bleed, and they did bleed, but I kept playing at 8 years old. And then when I was 11, I went to a talent show in the plaza, sang actually a song that I had written, a very folksy kind of song.
Did you always write music? I
did.
Just from the start? You
Just
picked up
as
a guitar and started writing music?
I understood it. To me, from the music I'd heard, from the Bob Dylans to the Paul Simons to Joni Mitchell's, these artists that I was getting in my childhood, that if you wanted to reach people with your music, you became the whole thing. You wrote songs about your life. That's just how I understood it.
I feel like that's a real musician, though. The people that you grew up on, that I grew up on also, they were real musicians. Like, they poured their heart out through their pens.
Yeah, that's how I understood it. And when I was hearing a song, I was like, yes, that's where I wanted to go. And so I always started writing. And my first songs were very childish and very, copying what I had heard and, what was out there. But I loved it. And through this talent show. I was in a variety show, and we performed in prisons and old folks' homes and stuff like that. But through that, I got with a band. There was just a country band in town called the Chuck Hammersmith and the Wranglers, and I sang Tammy Wynette songs at
How old were you?
12.
Oh, my goodness.
12, 13. And then from 12 to 17, I played in real bands. I went from that to a band in Kansas City where I fronted it with like 4 guys. They taught me how to play the organ, the keyboards. They taught me how to play drums.
Wow.
Just because I was just, hey, how do you do that? And I was that age, I was 14, 15, 16. And I sang all, the pop songs. And I made money every weekend. I had my first car that I bought at 14.
That's insane.
I mean, I wasn't wealthy, but I had my own money as a child.
But you had that drive to just...
Well, I loved it.
Where do you think that drive came from? Because I have heard you be very vocal about your relationship with your mother.
Yeah.
Can we dive into that a little bit?
yeah.
And where did Dad stand in that situation? And then also, we have some uncomfortable stuff with the sister, too.
Oh, yeah. So...
Sorry.
Please let everyone know that's the
Yeah.
dog. Okay. I grew up in the Midwest in the 60s and 70s, and I was a child in the 60s.
Right.
And it's so hard to explain now what it was like back then, and especially in the Midwest. My parents, they grew up in... My father grew up in poverty. He grew up as a migrant farmer. His father was an alcoholic, and, he pictures of him as a child with, it looks like the dirt, the
Wow.
Dust Bowl. That was my father's life. And he had someone help him in his high school. He was very athletic. And so they got him a scholarship to a college, and that was the only reason he got out of that. And he became a teacher and a high school coach.
Aww.
Yeah, and he was that guy. He was supremely nice. He cared about people. He was fun. He taught me how to, hit a ball and run around. And my mother, she grew up in, her father was an insurance salesman kind of guy. So she wasn't poverty, but she was lower income, trying to be more. And she went to college because that's where you find husbands.
No.
Met my father.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you'll do.
that's where you find husbands.
Yeah, right, exactly. Back in the 50s,
Yeah.
that's what you did.
Yeah.
But she was extremely intelligent and, loved books, was sort of trapped in this life. And she didn't know how to raise children. Mm-hmm. But when I was 3, she got a job as a secretary, and in the 60s quickly became, like, you remember the movie Hidden Figures, the women that it's these women that actually did all the work in early computing.
Oh, wow.
And they would run the computers, and she did it for the Army. There was an Army base right there in Leavenworth, and then the generals would take all the credit and pay her half what anybody else's. It was just, and she became very bitter.
That's amazing. I'm so sorry.
She became very bitter. She would drink at night.
She became bitter.
Yeah,
just for
because her intelligence that she was trying to get out there. She would work for the Army in war games and scenarios,
and they would kind of probably put her down and
they would
just
take
not a
her.
very healthy environment.
Just back then women didn't work, and they weren't the smart ones, so the men had to take all the credit.
I also feel that people who have higher intellect like that, for some reason, they always try to mask in other ways.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like their intelligence is just too much for them to carry.
Yeah.
My husband's sister is like that.
And they don't have any fun in life. And she just didn't.
Yeah.
And now as a grown up and a mother myself, I'm like, oh, she did the best she could. And
Yeah.
but at the time, as a child, you take it personally. You think, oh, she doesn't love me because I'm not lovable.
You internalize that.
Yeah, and so I internalized that, as did my older sister, and she did it in a different way. She lashed out. She was the bad child. She was, and just was always in trouble and angry at the world, and did take it out on me, and took it out in different ways, physically, sexually, just all for a couple of years when I was looking for, like acceptance and love of some kind, and
Were those things happening to her?
This I don't know. I asked her once. I did after I grew up. I said, is this something that happened to you? And she said that she did. She said when she was 5 years old that the boy across the street. But she said, but I don't think of it as abuse because I liked it. And I think she took that on for the rest of her life, sort of, and became very,
That's powerful
Yeah.
in a weird way, you know, because it was kind of like she turned her pain into something, you know, that helped her deal with it.
Very different lives, and she's.
How is your relationship with your sister now? Because going through physical and sexual abuse with a sister, it's like, how is that bond? Were you guys able to look past that, or has it always just been?
No, I was. I enabled for a while. I mean, I loved my family, and you might know, when you make a lot of money, all of a sudden, it becomes very weird with your family. And
I've had to cut off left and right. Okay,
I'm just telling you, because you
It's gotten
want to
weird.
make people happy. And back then, I thought, oh well, if I provide this, then they'll do this, and they never do. It just doesn't. You can't
it never
do
works.
it for anyone else. It takes away their desire anyway. But my sister tried that, and I had to cut everything off.
Cut ties.
And I did. And nowadays, I think I hadn't seen her like 17 years, and I saw her. Her daughter and I are very close. I helped her daughter out, and I'll just see her, and she's just a cranky old lady now, as far as I
so
know.
she embodied your mom, kind of, a little
Yes,
bit. Aw.
that's exactly what
you might have
happens.
taken on your dad, and she took on your mom.
That's exactly. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
no, I get it.
crazy.
I have two sisters that I don't
Yeah.
communicate with. I actually just started taking care of my older sister again, just paid for like surgery for her. She's done me so wrong. And it's like, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, you're being sweet now, but I can only imagine what you're going to try to sell to the tabloids next,
it's
you know?
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
no,
just like,
it's wild that we even have to deal with stuff like that. Moving on from
Yes.
that situation, you started playing in bars when you were 12 years old. What in the hell? Like, I know it was a different era back then. I feel like the era of like I wasn't around the 70s, but the 80s, the 90s, and even the 2000s was such a cool time. Like, right? Compared to now, I feel like everybody's offended about everything. Like, you can't fucking say anything. Like, I just feel like back then was just like such a more lax era, I guess you could say. It was more magical, it almost felt like, you know?
There was a lot of magic. Yes, sometimes I look back and my wife will laugh when I say, I was playing a prison, and I showed her a picture of the whole act that went in there with me. It was, I sang, but we had dancers and comedians and acrobat people, and they were all in completely inappropriate outfits in the 60s, right? Going into a prison, right?
Yeah.
So that was that. Now the bars, my father would go with me every single time. I was never without my father.
So dad was like a constant figure in your life.
Constant.
That's amazing.
He didn't drink. He would go. He would sit there with a Coke and he would listen, and then he would help me carry my equipment out. And he was. I think he liked it because we would go every Friday and Saturday night, every weekend. And I think the marriage was maybe a little, because she was having a hard time, and it was a very peaceful time for him and I. We would really enjoy each other's company, and just and he would go sit and listen. And he wasn't one that like critiqued me, and he didn't also, wow, you're really good or anything like that. He just
knew it was something that made you happy.
Absolutely.
And he just supported it.
Yeah, he did.
That's amazing. That's really cool. With that situation that was going on with your mom too, just circling back to that, how did you not internalize your mom's anger and pain? Like, how did you avoid that? Do you think your relationship with your father helped you to not internalize it? Because I know how it is to be around people with depression, and sometimes it's very easy to soak up their energy too.
Yeah, well, I got out of there as fast as I could.
Okay.
When I was 18. Like, I graduated high school, and I went to college for
Went
a
to
minute.
Berklee College, right?
Well,
Not just anybody can get into Berklee College, by the way.
Well, it's true. That's true back then. But I didn't go for very long. I only went for a few months because I wanted to sing and play. And I'd already been playing and making music, so I just found a a restaurant that had a lounge in it that I could go play and I could make money
Yeah.
and work on my dream. I really was not a kind of girl that would sit there and
studious.
I was not a studious musician.
Musician.
No.
I feel like musicians, you have to be creative. You can't just be put, as there are some who can do that, but the majority, you're creative.
Yeah.
You can't be like stifled by a classroom.
No, it was crazy. The minute they would tell me, you have to do this note has to come after that, I'm like, it does not. It's music. What are you saying?
Yeah.
There has to do this. But it was more of a jazz-based thing, and that's a whole different mindset.
But even to get accepted into Berklee, like that's a huge feat. That just goes to show what kind of musician you are, though, because like I think they said that it's like a 54% acceptance rate to even get into there now.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
Back then it wasn't like that. It was brand new, but
Yeah.
but it's all good, and it is a very good school. And I actually got an honorary doctorate from them, so
Yay.
really pisses the rest of my family off. But
I love it. The wild child gets the doctorate. I love that. You're the black sheep turns into the goat.
there you go.
I love it.
There you go.
I
I've never
love
heard that. Yeah,
No, I love that. That's why I love it. I stole it. It was a meme.
it was.
It was a meme, and I was like, I relate. So I
Yeah,
just stole
there you
it.
go.
How did you define your sound? Because you have such a raspy, just bluesy, your voice is just so amazing.
Well, I sang from the time I was 13.
Yeah. Did you have that bluesiness and that rasp even at 13?
Well, I played in country bands first, even though that wasn't my first choice of music. I listened a lot to it. Your classic stuff. But I would sing all those songs, and they're all very throaty, very full.
Yeah.
Tammy Wynette, and
Yeah.
even Linda Ronstadt, that sort of singing like that. And I'd listen to Gladys Knight, I'd listen to Aretha, and I'm like, you gotta sing from here. And I guess I've always sort of had this voice because I do remember the choir teacher. I also I'd go play in the bars and then I'd go to church on Sunday.
I love that.
That's what we do.
Rock and roll
right?
angel,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, there you go. And but I would sing in the choir, and she used to put me in the very back because she'd say I had the weirdest voice.
Oh.
So it's it's a good thing though. It's
Yeah.
good. I'm very grateful for my voice, but I think
I bet
it's,
she ate when she saw you
Yeah.
winning Grammys. She was
there's
like,
been
"Ah,
a few of
shit."
those. There's been a whole. I've got many of those. I'm good there, but it's just something that has developed, and I've worked on it, and it's sort of it sounds like I drink a lot of whiskey and smoke a bunch of cigarettes.
I love it.
I write like that. I've written songs. I'm smoking cigarettes and drinking whiskey, but I don't.
Yeah.
I never did.
Did you maintain your sobriety even all through?
Alcohol was never a problem
Childhood
with
and,
me.
like, teenage?
One, because I saw my mom.
Right.
And I saw my father who didn't drink. And I said, I want to be like Dad. I tend to think that children go where it's warm, and that was warm. And I'd play at 13, 14, 15. I'd see these people get drunk, and I'm like, well, that's stupid.
And nothing attractive
It
about
held
it.
nothing
Yeah.
attractive. I'd see people get all sloppy and stuff at the end of the night, and fights. Oh my God! Beer bottles thrown and hiding behind the organs so the chairs don't get you. Yeah, I saw a lot.
I could only imagine at such a young age, and the bars back then were just crazy.
Yes.
They were not very politically correct.
Oh
that's for
no,
sure.
there's nothing like that about there. But again, I always felt safe. My father was there
Yeah.
every single night.
I love that. We love Dad. Is Dad still alive? or he
No, I
passed?
lost Dad at 30. It was really difficult.
Oh my God. I just
Cancer.
lost my dad in May, so I can only
oh,
imagine
it's
how
so-
that goes. Yeah, it's brutal.
But they're always here.
Yeah,
he's
no.
been there 30 years. He's been there.
For sure. I've never seen more f***ing butterflies. I'm
You
like,
see?
Bill, I get the damn point.
You
Okay.
get, I got it. I got it. There
Dad.
you
I know
are.
you're here.
Yeah.
So moving on from Berklee,
Yeah.
how old are you then when you start like venturing out and you got your first record deal when? Because I know you dropped your first album in 1988.
Yeah.
When was the space in between there that you got signed?
So I finally went back to Kansas after Boston. Made enough money. Played at a restaurant, Granada Royale Hotel. Played in the lounge. Made enough money. Buy a car. Got a car. Drove to Los Angeles in 1982. So I was 21 years old. And LA in the 80s was magnificent.
It was
Yes.
great. Tell me about it.
It was
Tell me about it.
magnificent.
Because I got to grow up with the Hollywood too in
Yeah.
the 80s and the 90s. And it
Yeah.
was like so, as a child seeing that.
It was a drama queen's heaven. It was theater. It was, we're going to wear our hair so weird. We're going to try to do everything weird and against until it became the style, until everyone's doing it, I remember.
That's where they got the nickname Hollyweird.
Yes. We would shave the side of our heads and, because I went in with the lesbian crowd, the gay crowd, deep, and we're just the weirdest ones ever, we were the first ones to go to the Salvation Armies and get the vintage clothing and stuff like that, that was back when you could walk in and find amazing things that you'd think, why would someone throw this away? So we were living that, and I loved it, and I got really deeply into the whole lesbian world because I ended up playing lesbian bars.
So you played like the gay circuit?
Oh, yeah. There wasn't even a gay circuit back then.
Okay, because I know in Vegas they had one. There was like a whole little circuit that you could go and they called it the Fruit Loop. Yeah. But it was like, they said it in the most endearing way, Of course. So I didn't know if Hollywood had one of those too.
No, we didn't have a Fruit Loop. But we had a lot of fruits and nuts. But no, these were just like the bars. That one was in Long Beach.
I love Long Beach.
Yeah, and it had just opened. But I ended up playing a place in Pasadena and Long Beach, and hardly ever in LA because there wasn't a live music scene. But I had created these. They weren't looking for work. I actually was there on a date and went and saw a piano in the corner and said, "Hey, do you have music?" They said, "No, that came with the steakhouse that used to be here, but you want to play at night." And so they let me. I created these jobs because there was nobody making money in Hollywood. Everyone was playing for free.
Wow.
And so I played for 4 years in these bars, and I thought, how am I ever going to be signed in a lesbian bar? No one's ever going to see me. But slowly, the wife, who was a soccer coach, the girls brought her in. You got to hear this girl. And then the wife tells the husband, who's a music manager, managed bread and whatever. He comes down. He's like, well, and this is 1983. And he sticks with me we ended up working together for 30 years. But he said, look, I don't know when it's happening, but I believe you have a great talent. And I think you can do this. And he even said, he goes, stay in the lesbian bars. I will bring the people to you. You're making money, right? You're making a living. You can pay your rent. And every single record company over those 4 years came out to see me.
Wow.
And they would go, like Warner Brothers brought out all the tables, and there'd be, I don't know whether it was because they were surrounded by lesbians or what it was, but they would always, then say, oh, we don't hear a hit, and they never knew. And it wasn't until 1986, I'm playing in Long Beach, and a producer guy who had tried to get me a deal with A&M knew Chris Blackwell. Chris Blackwell owned Island Records. He discovered Bob Marley. He brought Bob Marley to the world. He was from Jamaica. He was this eccentric, rich, son of the Blackwell Soups or something, and Jamaican, and he brought U2, Robert Palmer. He was just a great music guy, and he walked into the bar, heard 4 songs, and said, I don't know why you're not signed, and signed me right there. Just boom, just like literally on a napkin,
You literally paved your own way, though.
Yeah.
Like you did it your way, and you brought your energy was so pure and so magnetic that you brought all of these straight people into lesbian bars to come and see you. That's amazing.
It's fun because I've run into some of the people that came out and said no, and they were like, "Oh, well, we made a mistake."
Yeah.
It was really nice to see these old white gray-haired guys saying, "Oh, well, we made a mistake."
Yeah.
Like, oh, well.
When did you know that you were lesbian? Like that you just were not into men, or was it something that
when you grow up, when you're gay and you're a kid, you have crushes on your kindergarten teacher, but who doesn't as a kid? I think sexuality is
Miss Lanuti had a great ass.
Come on.
I still remember her name.
See? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or mine was Mrs. Rice. Anyway, and so
there we go.
And you as a child, but then when the hormone stuff starts kicking in, and my friends are, looking at Bobby and Jimmy, and I'm looking at my friends and going, and it's I see it today where kids know that there's more, and they are just natural in themselves. And God, if I'd have had that as a child, but as a child, you're like, okay, this is the way everyone's going, but I'm looking this way. Well, that's okay, and you just kind of go along, and I would get crushes on girls, and it would, you just want to stand next to them. I'm sure it's what guys go through, It's just like, I don't know what to do. I don't think of it as I'm gay. And it wasn't until I was 16, with that best friend and that sleepover, and
Yep,
there
I
you
know
go.
that. I had one of those too. Our daughter actually, they have so many terminologies now, and I don't want to get into that, but she actually leans more towards being a lesbian also, and I'm like, please do. I am
Our
so
oldest
accepting of it.
engagement party night, marrying a lovely woman. We couldn't be happier.
See, I want Bailey to do that.
Yeah, that's
I
our Bailey.
love
That's
that.
our daughter's name is Bailey. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, I did know
if
that.
you just let it go, let
Yeah,
it,
just
because
let them be.
they get their heart broke. Blah.
Yeah.
They get their heart broke. Either way, they're going to
Yeah.
have relationships, and you just hold their hands through it, and then they find, but when they find that one, they just bing, they just light up.
It just works. So, I hope that happens for our Bailey too.
Yes.
So moving forward, you get signed by Island Records?
Island Records,
Yes, you get signed by Island Records. Take me on that journey. So you got signed in '86, you said?
86, okay. And then Chris Blackwell goes back into the universe of music, and I don't see him, and I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to make a record. I've never made a record,
You're like, well, okay, thanks for signing me.
I
but
know
what
exactly
do
what do I do now.
How were record deals back then? Because I know they're so different now. What did they offer you? Am I allowed to ask that?
Yeah, let me see if I can remember the
Because
first
I'm
one.
fascinated with the inner workings of how that is.
Yeah.
Because you've seen the music industry change so much.
I sold 25 million albums, and Island Records still say I owe them money. Yeah.
Wow.
That's how bad the record company. But they've forgiven it at this point.
Gotcha.
It's like, oh, stop it.
Gotcha.
What do you mean?
But the record deals back then were crazy.
Yeah, no, it's you didn't, even your lawyers would just go, because they didn't have to sign you. There was so much music, they weren't like, they were doing you a favor, and you knew that you had to get through this door, or you would,
You're pretty much signing, I don't want to say signing your life away, but
No.
you're signing the rights to yourself just so that you can
for a while, so that company will blow you up and take all the money from it, but you will get the fame.
Yes.
And I kind of realized that, and I had a good manager who said, look, it's not about your records, don't even think about that, because that really doesn't exist. It's about your publishing, because you write, then I can make the money from the publishing. That's when you see an artist who doesn't write their own stuff, who doesn't really like to perform, they're not going to be around for a while, because performing is your bread and butter. And that I started, I'd already been playing these bars and clubs. Then I made a record, and I went out and played more bars and clubs, and then it just grew from there. And I would not trade that for the world. For the my first album came out in 1988, and I played everywhere. I played Europe and Australia and all these places, because the first album did well.
So you traveled everywhere after you dropped your album. I'm going to look at my notes real quick, because there was something really cool that I realized with these albums that you dropped. So you dropped, May 2nd, 1988, you dropped your first album, and then you had a hit, Bring Me Some Water, that was nominated for a Grammy. But then you go on to drop 2 more albums. Another album gets nominated for Grammys, right? And then you win a Grammy Award.
Yeah.
That's insane. In your first 3 albums, you get a Grammy Award? That's insane.
That really surprised me, because I didn't even get, a lot of people think I won for Best New Artist, but I didn't get that. I wasn't even nominated for that. It was back when they had a category called Best Female Rock Vocal. They don't have that anymore.
They should, though.
I know. But first, I was nominated. I was nominated I've been nominated 17 times.
That's
I've won 2.
crazy. But still, that's crazy.
It was great, because my career really went from here to huge. I went from selling 60,000 albums to almost 1 million after after the Grammys, and because the Grammys had that large of a reach, and it was not because I was nominated, but because I performed. And it was a very special year. This was 1989, and Tracy Chapman performed, Sinead O'Connor performed.
Oh my goodness.
I performed. My manager actually strong-armed the producers into letting. They wanted to mash all our songs up. And he said, "Are you kidding? This is such a strong year for women. You've got to let them have their thing." And they let us each sing our songs by ourselves, and it was really powerful Grammys.
That's amazing.
I didn't win, but I performed.
It's all right. You were there, baby. You had your foot in the
Yeah.
door. We actually just got to see Tracy Chapman at the Grammys perform with
yes.
Luke Combs. And I was like, that was the highlight of my night, was to get to see her perform, because, it's such a rarity these
What a
days.
beautiful
and,
soul.
Oh, just so good. I was just like, I was so thankful to be there in that moment, because it was just really magical. I loved it. So take me on your first tour. Like, what... I remember whenever I hopped on tour with Jay in 2016, it was, he wasn't signed or anything like that. And we would work our asses off. I'm talking like we would go to like every little bar. There would be 20 people in a bar, and he would perform like it was, his fucking, or it was like an arena full of people. What was your first tour like? Because you said you got to go everywhere and like got to go out of the country and stuff like that. Was it wild?
It was wild because it was all different. In
Yeah.
America, I was getting played on rock and roll. So I was doing the rock and roll circuit. I was playing the bars and clubs. It was, 200 to 500 people. If I had 500, that was a lot.
Yeah.
I remember in Colorado, in Boulder, Colorado, they had a great radio station there called KBCO. Yeah. And so they were playing my songs a lot. So this was my biggest crowd. It was 500 people. And then I started opening for Bruce Hornsby. And that's a great thing for a brand new artist to get on a larger thing. So I could, open for them. And so all of a sudden I was playing to, well, they were half-empty halls, when I started. But I could play those last couple numbers, and people would be, there'd be 3,000 people in the, so I'd learned that.
Yeah.
Then I'd go over to Europe, where my song was doing well, and I'd play 1,000-seat rock. Have you gone to Europe?
Not yet. We're going.
Europe is so much fun because they all stand. It's all general admission, and they all clap on time. It's not that America's, we're all like, one, two. Man, they're. And they clap all four, and they all jump up and down, and it is so much fun. They love their music, they love rock and roll.
I love that.
Yeah, so that was fun. So I just started, and I didn't stop for 8 years, and it just grew to theaters, and then before I knew it, my fourth album had come out, Yes I Am. All of a sudden,
That's
it
the
was
one that
mainstream.
put you in mainstream.
Yeah,
yes.
that was mainstream. So now I'm playing arenas and stadiums.
That was the one I stripped to.
Yes, it's a good
That
one.
was my
Believe
shit.
me, when I start that song, the audience is they're all in it. I'm surprised.
But
Well, the clothes do come
I can only
off, but,
imagine how many titties you've seen
you
to that song. Sorry, wifey.
no, you have no.
Wifey's
She
over here
loves it.
cracking
No,
up.
she loves it. She
I love
knows.
it.
She loves it. She's the most. She's doesn't. It's good. I'm going to stop talking.
I can't wait. Well, we're going to get into how you guys met and everything too. So I want to know all of that. But
Okay.
so you're out here touring. You dropped this record. You're mainstream. I mean, you're at the height of your career, and just you sang at Brad and Jen's wedding.
Well, they were friends. Yes.
I mean, who can just say that Brad Pitt's their friend? Like that's just crazy to
I
me.
met him before. What was crazy was Hollywood in the late '80s, early '90s. Was we didn't know. We didn't know when I'm sitting around with now, Academy Award nominees and winners and a friend of mine, Catherine Keener, she was an actress, and she said, "Oh, I have this friend that I just did this movie with. His name's Brad. It's his birthday. Will you call him? He's a big fan of yours." And I'm like, "Okay." This is before Thelma and Louise. This is before anything.
Yeah.
And
back when he was really hot.
oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh no, you would know the minute I met him, and I was like, "Well, look at you," And he was from Missouri.
I love that.
He was from Missouri.
She said, "Look at you."
Yeah, I know. I would, because I'm like, he's just beautiful. We used to have like swimming pool. I had real fun swimming pool, and I had like a basketball hoop on the swimming pool, and we all used to gather. And I mean, this is like River Phoenix, and you're just really beautiful. God, I can go on and on.
How was your relationship with River? I feel like he did not get enough time here.
No, not at all. No, it was incredibly sad when he passed away, and it was,
Yeah.
and yes, they had been, there was always drugs in Hollywood,
that
but
was
it
the
wasn't a
last, yeah.
mainstream thing back then. They drank a lot, and we'd smoke pot, but that was about it. And when it was the cough syrup with something else he had taken, and it was so sad, and Joaquin, it just died in his arms. It was just really, really sad time, and but it was a beautiful time in Hollywood with a lot of people that had no idea. I mean, Ellen DeGeneres, and we're all
Yeah.
hanging out in my pool. When I was saying,
Did you and Ellen ever hook up?
Did me and Ellen?
Yeah.
No, that would be gay. That's true.
I love that.
Do you understand what I mean?
I get it.
Okay.
That is hilarious. Gotcha. So you like the femmes. You like feminine women.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, she's like, yes. Do you like straight women? Is that the thing?
Well, that
Or-
was a problem.
Yeah.
That was a problem, and I got over that
You
problem.
like to turn them out.
Wow, you understand my world.
Well, I
That's
am you.
indeed. That's
You are me.
exactly. That's exactly what my first 10 albums.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is another thing is you've always stayed so true to yourself in the music. Like when you would talk about relationships, it was she, it wasn't he. Whereas like even Elton John, when he first was in the music scene, he had to sing about having a wife and Rocket Man, you know, like
I told
and it's
them,
like, you don't have a wife, sir.
I know. I told them, I said, I'm not going to, well, they said, well, as long as you don't flag wave. I don't know what that means, but what that meant then, I was like, okay, whatever. But I said, I'm not going to pretend I'm something I'm not. I'm not going to go to red carpets and find a boyfriend. I'm doing air quotes,
Right.
no, I wouldn't do that. And I always wrote very universal pronouns,
Yeah.
language, that you can turn it any way you want.
Yeah.
It can be, but boy, did women know that I was singing about women. They're like, oh, nobody writes like that about a man.
Do you think that that's why your album, the fourth one, I forget what it's called. It's
Yes, I Am.
Yes, I Am. Do you think that's why it resonated so well with the masses because you were just being true to who you were and people actually accepted it, which during a time when people weren't that accepting back then.
No, the gay community was strong here, and I met a lot of people in the community, a lot of the ones who were fighting for our rights, these leaders.
Good.
And we were right in the middle of the AIDS epidemic, and our friends and everyone was dying, and we were like, if we don't stand up and say something, everyone's just going to be fine that we die. So there was a big, strong political feeling about being a famous person and actually saying you were gay. It was, they had outed a few, and and in bad ways.
Yeah, which that's horrible to ever out
it was really
anybody.
awful because it would end careers, and it would end you'd lose your job and all this sort of stuff. And I never was closeted really, because if you knew me at all, if you met me, I'd introduce you to my girlfriend. I just there was a line. It was a serious "don't ask, don't tell" in the early '90s of, we won't ask you if you're gay, and you just don't talk about it, okay? And so finally, it was the election of Bill Clinton,
Yes.
and Al Gore, and it really signified a time of change in America, because we had 12 years of conservative Reagan and Bush, and it was awful.
Bill got in there and just started humping everybody.
And sex came back, man.
Right, it
Sexy
did.
back. Yes, it was.
It did.
And we felt that, and it was that night that I was like, yeah, I'm a lesbian, did it, and it was in the newspapers the next day.
Were you scared? Like,
No.
what was that? Take me on that moment where you were just like, you were just ready,
I was ready. I was done pretending.
hiding.
I was done. People were starting to ask me, this was already my fourth album, people were starting to ask me the personal questions. Who did you write this about? Blah, blah. And someone actually did an article where they said, they changed all the pronouns to my boyfriend. And I was like, good God, people are going to read this and think, and no, well, she's gay. Why is she saying that? And they'll think I lied, and that made me crazy. So my plan was to come out on Arsenio Hall because he was he was very cool. He was a late night host that would let me talk, and I was ready to when the album came out a few months later. But in the meantime, I did the inauguration, and I came out just in
It was
the
just
moment.
it was divine timing.
So then as there was no social media, so this is not something that went poof.
Right.
But slowly, as I did my tour press, and you do pre-interviews with the city you're going to, city by city, they would start asking me questions, and for 3 years all I talked about was being gay because nobody had answered these questions before, and it was just all brand new. So I think it actually helped
Open doors.
but helped my career by me coming out. I got extra publicity, and people were curious. I know I've heard plenty of stories of, my mother never let me bring your albums into the house. You were the devil or whatever.
Aww.
I know. So there was, a bit of a dampening, and but who knows? I think I have a blessed career.
Absolutely. But I also feel like, in a way, you open doors for other artists after you.
I hope so.
That were, that are in the lifestyle. And
I listen to Chappell Roan.
yay!
And I'm like,
we love Chappell. We want Chappell on the podcast.
oh, hell yeah. I'm like, damn, if I could have written that, if I could have, Good Luck Babe, that's just, go ahead. You're going to have to stop the world to stop this feeling, and all the songs she writes, I'm like, oh yeah, you go, girl.
You guys need to do something together.
I would love to. She has named me as an influence, and because she comes from the Midwest also, and
I love that.
and coming out and stuff. So I know she has an appreciation. So yeah, you see her, you let her know anything,
Chappell?
anytime, anywhere.
We need you and Melissa Etheridge to do a collaboration, Miss Thing, okay? We need that to happen ASAP. I would love that. And you know what? That would actually go insanely viral because Chappell and you together, oh my God. And their voices together.
Come on.
A rock and roll
Come
pink
on.
pony club. Rock and roll pink pony club. Chappell, we need you, baby. We're saying it right here, baby.
I'm ready.
Yeah, she said.
I'm ready.
She said, I'm ready.
Bring it on.
So moving on from all this fame, hanging out with, by the way, how is Jennifer Aniston? Are you guys still friends?
I haven't talked to her in years, but the last time I saw her,
Did you get her in the divorce? Did you stay with Brad or did you stay with Jen? Because I feel like everybody had to choose at that time.
It was really something. I lost contact with Brad. It's not that we chose or anything. It was just this. It was so hard for everybody because that was a really strong sort of kind of Hollywood thing.
It still is. They will not. It's freaking 20-something years later, and they just don't leave it alone. Like, that's crazy.
I know it's nuts. So I haven't seen because it's like any friendships in your 20s and whatever. Things change and you grow and you have children and you go away but I have seen her more than I have Brad. But she is a beautiful, incredible, delightful human being. I could never say anything.
She's an Aquarius.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
No, she's a wonderful, wonderful human being.
Oh, I love that. I can't wait to meet her.
Oh yeah, she's great.
So moving on from all of this, when do the children come into play? When do you start deciding to have children? Because I know I had heard you say that you didn't want to have kids. And that's where I have been my entire life. And I'm almost 45. And I finally decided with my husband in this last year, I'm like, I would like a little bit of us running around, And for the longest time, I felt the same way that you did. What changed that for you?
I don't know that it changed. I'm really surprised that I have children.
Yeah.
But what it was my partner at the time. Again, growing up in the 60s, 70s, even early 80s, it wasn't an option. That was one of the reasons that it was so sad to families is, you'll never have children, that sort of thing. And my childhood wasn't so awesome that I thought, I want to bring a child in. And my mothering mirror was not, didn't have much mothering or nurturing. I didn't know what I would be like as a mom. So in 95, when my partner was like, I think I want to have kids. And I was like, oh, this is very interesting. And of course I was like, wow, I don't know what I'll be like, but if you want to have them, I'll be the guy and I'll go work and I'll bring the money home and you raise the kids, right? Something like that in my head.
Yeah.
And then my daughter was born and I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing.
Right.
And instantly fell in love and realized that I was a dad mom. I mothered like my father and have always been like that.
But you're also a generational curse breaker. And I think that you had your dad as a role model, absolutely, but your mom showed you everything you didn't want to be in a mom.
Yeah.
So you broke those curses.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I may not have ever heard I love you, but you're going to hear it every day. You're going to hear it every time you leave a room. I'm going to tell you I love you. And in our family, whenever someone goes from one room to the other, it's like I love you. It really stays.
I love that.
And my children do not ever worry or think that I don't love them at all in any way.
Can we talk about how iconic it is that that two of your kids, David Crosby, was, do we call him the sperm donor, or what do we refer to him as?
Bailey calls him her bio dad.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the reason that we chose him, because when my partner said she wanted to have children, she had been adopted and she didn't like that she didn't know who her real parents were.
Yeah.
So she wanted her children to know who their father was.
I love that though. I totally agree with that.
And I respected that 100%. I was like, okay, but this person, I don't want them to be a father, a figure in their life. I want them to be able to go, that's where I came from.
Right.
But this is the parent that raised me. And that was really important. One of the reasons that we didn't go with Brad Pitt, who was a very good friend at the time.
Was that an option? That would have been amazing.
I know that's believe me, Bailey's like, Brad Pitt could have been my father. Are you insane? But Brad wanted children really bad.
Oh, could you imagine those genes? Good Lord.
I know. But Brad,
Goodness.
So he was only it wasn't anyway.
Yeah.
So I run into David Crosby, and him and his wife had just used like IVF and different things to conceive their child. And so they were very grateful. And Jan, his wife, said, well, what about David? And I thought, that's perfect. He's a musician. He has children. He's
iconic.
Doesn't
Crosby,
need,
Stills, and Nash
right,
and
doesn't
Young.
need
Come
anything.
on.
And he's beautiful. And I mean, people didn't see the beauty that I did in him sometimes.
Bailey looks like him.
Oh my gosh, the cheeks.
It's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely has his cheeks. And
when
so,
I saw her face, I was like, holy cow.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he looked kind of like me too, so I like that. So,
Yeah. I love that.
That's as close as I could get.
I love
And he was
that.
he was always there, but never inserted himself into their life at all, like
I love that.
like a parent.
This is kind of a personal question, and we can cut this out, but this is kind of like what I want to know, because we're planning on using a surrogate, and if we can't use my eggs, we're going to be using donor eggs. How was it bonding with the children, with them not having that DNA? How was that and we can cut this out if you want to.
Oh, no, not at all.
Because I just want to respect boundaries.
Yes.
But how was that bonding?
Let me tell you, my children are of me. They do not have a drop of my blood in them or DNA or whatever that is, but their souls, their spirit. You will find when you have this baby that when they are older, that they will look like you because they have learned to smile and move their facial movements like you, because you will have been smiling at them from the moment they were born. So all of my children have my smile.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
And that's so, there's not a moment's thought, unless someone asks me, that I don't think that these children, that I would step in front of a train, I would, there is no doubt. And it does not come into play ever.
I love it. That's how I feel about Bailey. She's not mine biologically, but like even people are like, she has your mannerisms.
Yeah.
She acts like you.
They will laugh like you.
Yeah.
They will, all of that. There is not, and I don't know, physically that would be the only thing, but
Yeah.
the features, the spirit, how they look to you, you will be mother. You will always be the only mother.
I love it. That makes me so happy. I just wanted to ask that question because, thinking about using donor eggs, you kind of you're just like, what if I have, an issue bonding with this baby? But I mean, I don't think I would because I've bonded with Jay's daughter. We've had full custody of her for 8 years and she's my child. I will go to war for this child.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. There's nothing to do with
DNA.
Thank
you.
I call this my meat suit. That's it.
It is our meat suit.
Yeah.
It totally, I say that to everybody.
Yeah.
Can we move on to your son, Beckett?
Yes.
He was also, because you have 4 children total, correct?
Yeah.
You have twins, and then you have Bailey and Beckett. Okay,
yes.
so we're going to move on to Beckett. Beckett is also you with your ex-wife and David Crosby's bio dad. What... Being in the scene that you're in and, being around and stuff like that and seeing how, substance abuse affected your childhood, how was that whenever your son fell into that?
Oh, it was so hard. You'll notice that some children just, the wind is always blowing in their face, It's just harder in all ways. And you see it's a lot of what they believe and how they perceive the world. And it is never up to us to change anyone's perception. Only they can do that. So when and it was young, it was, 12, 13, I could see his pushing against teachers and the first thing you do as a parent is, this is my fault. It's because he was from a broken home. It's because of, and who knows? This is this child and his mountain. And we did everything we could. We, I put him in, outward bound classes, sort of thing. And he would be okay. And then he started getting into snowboarding at, 15, 16, 17. He was back in school, but it was hard to stay in school. I was trying to do different tutoring for him, and he just got really, really good at snowboarding. I knew, I knew he was smoking pot. I knew he was getting down the street from the rich kids, and you're just trying to hold it together in a way, thinking it'll pass. And he loved snowboarding, and the Aspen team starts looking at him, and he goes to train with them in Aspen, and he takes a big jump and he falls and breaks his foot in 2 places. And then they gave him Vicodin for the pain, which, his whole dreams were broken, so his whole soul was broken, and he never recovered from it. He never got out from the opioids. The opioids became street opioids, heroin. And last thing, when he was 21, he was during the pandemic, and it was fentanyl, and it was over. Boom.
I couldn't imagine the heartbreak of getting that phone call and just having to deal with that.
Well, by the time you get the phone call,
you're expecting it.
I already went through it's either, I'm going to make myself sick now. I can't do this anymore. I can't save him. I can't, I've gone through the giving him something to help him and do this, to taking everything away so he's homeless, to, you do everything and
just nothing works.
And there's nothing, and they just keep sinking down, and then it's gone, and there's a little bit of a relief, like, okay, he's finally out of pain. And there's some peace, and you're not worried every time your phone lights up,
Yeah.
And so it was very hard for the last couple of years. And so when you send the welfare check, because I hadn't heard from him in 4 days, and I used to hear from him every single day. And 4 days, and you just know, and you finally send the police, and they say, yeah, he's dead. And
oh my goodness.
but you move on. You do. And he would not want me to punish myself or feel guilty for some choices he made. He wants me to be happy. He's
Absolutely.
in a place where he's out of pain. It's okay. I don't need to punish myself for any of that.
That was in his soul contract. I believe that. I
Yeah.
believe in soul contracts. And
Absolutely.
not everybody does, but I do believe that before we come here, we want to learn certain types of lessons, and that was his exit strategy. And I really, truly feel like people that die from overdoses, maybe they might have gotten off the path, but that all in all was part of their soul contract.
It's going back to the mother. That's what it has been described to me, that heroin takes you back to that place, the feeling of the womb, and they want to go back, and they want to go. And
I've never heard that.
yeah, that it feels like that. That's what it feels
Wow.
like. Yeah.
That is amazing and crazy all at the same
Yeah.
time.
Well,
Amazing
isn't
and
that
like
life?
it's deep. That's very deep. Thank you for talking about that, by the way, because I know
it's not
it's
a problem.
never.
I think it helps because I know there's hundreds and thousands of families who
Yeah.
are suffering with it today, right now.
Absolutely.
And if I can help someone feel better, get over, not sink into despair themselves, then that's good.
Yes. Testimonies are powerful, and I feel like it also helps people realize, like, because you're doing this docuseries, which we'll talk about in a second. I think it will shed light on why you're going so hard. I mean, you've been performing in prison since you were 12 too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just kind of like how your life has come full circle. But before we talk about that, can we talk about how you are a breast cancer survivor?
Yeah.
That is amazing. And I think I heard a story of the morning of the Grammys, you had radiation
Yeah.
and had no hair, and then you still went and performed at the Grammys.
Yeah.
You're a soldier. You're a warrior woman.
I'm not ready to give up. It's not an option, right?
Yeah.
It never has been. And in this was 2004. I'm actually 20 years cancer-free this year. So yay. Yeah. And this was after my first divorce. This was a very lost time in my life. I had had the big success, and there's nothing more that's going to freak you out than actually all your dreams coming true, because you're going to realize it doesn't solve all your problems. It's like, oh, I thought this would be, the end. I did it. There you go. It's great. I'll be fine now from it. That's not life. Life is up and down. And I didn't have a relationship with myself. I was very sad. Here I had become a mother, and then instantly we divorced, and now I'm a single mother, and I just feel like I let the world down, and it just really weird time. And I was eating like crap. It was the end of the 90s, early 2000s, where everyone thought they had to be pencil thin, and so I tortured myself. It's just all this stuff that we would do, until my body just said, look, I can't do it anymore. And there was a tumor on my breast, my left breast. And right before that, just months before that, I had a unintentional heroic dose of cannabis.
Oh.
It's one. Yeah, it's
Oh,
it's one of
goodness.
those. Oh, let's have. Oh, that's a real good cookie. Oh, this is good. And you eat three,
She said
and you're only supposed
unintentional
to.
heroic dose.
Yes.
That was so poetic.
Yes,
Poetic
that's
as
what it
fuck.
was. And it's one of those where your mind opens
You meet
up, your
God.
brain. You meet God, and I saw God, and I understood what life was, and I came back changed. And then a few months later, I get cancer, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy, because I didn't fear death anymore, and I'm on this sort of spiritual path now. And so the cancer
That's why
just
it happened.
it put it into uber drive, right? It just super, everything changed. I changed. It was magnificent, and I've been on this high ever since. And life is, I'm so grateful for breast cancer. And I went through it, got 2 surgeries. It was stage 3. They told me, I was always going to, and I don't believe any of that. I believe that I understood what gave me the cancer. And if I can make joy a priority in my life, if I can eat the things that bring me joy, make me feel good, and do the things and make the choices for myself, that I will be able to live a healthy, happy life. And it's been 20 years, and I think I can brag about it now.
Yes, ma'am, you can. You earned that right. You earned those stripes. I am a firm believer, and I preach this on the podcast. I know they're so tired of hearing it, but what the mind feels, the body will follow.
100%. The body is in reaction to the mind. The mind, like I said, meat suit.
Yeah,
Total meat suit.
absolutely.
And I know instantly. I can tell. It's like, oh, this hurts, that hurts. Oh, that's because, you get things and it's, wow, well, I've been feeling very closed down. I've been, of course, my back's going to start hurting. I don't feel supported. Just all of that stuff. And it makes our bodies make sense. When you have the belief that, oh, something might happen to me, I might get cancer out of nowhere, I might get heart disease out of nowhere. That's not how it works. It's
What
stress.
you fear, you'll feed.
Yes, thank you. You know it all.
No, for sure.
You're just you're on that journey.
Well, I had to. I got sober, and I, went on. I saw The Dark Knight and went on my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I just got misdiagnosed with an aneurysm last month, and I told myself, I thought I was gonna pass out when I got the news. It said it was on my carotid artery, and my mom actually had one and almost died. So I felt like I was gonna pass out. Anyways, long story short, because this isn't about me, but it's just, I didn't believe it. I was like, this is not, and if I do have it, I'm gonna have surgery and it's gonna be fine or whatever.
Yeah.
I was getting a CAT scan. I heard the loudest voice in my head, and it said, it's not an aneurysm. Yeah. Went to 2 neurosurgeons. Turned out that I have 2 identical blood vessels on both sides of my carotid arteries. That's just part of my DNA. Yeah. So I was just like, praise Jesus.
Isn't that it's a miracle.
But you have to literally just, no matter what, I think our life lesson is to learn how to have faith. You cannot control everything, and you have to just, sometimes you have to say, you know what, God, whatever your will's going to be, or whatever higher power you believe in. It's just whatever your will is, let it happen.
And that has been the most exciting 20 years of my life. Have been the last. When you stop trying to make your happiness dependent on other people or other things, when you can find your happiness inside yourself and you're in charge of it, oh, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. No. And that's the path. That's where you want to walk.
That's the good stuff.
It gets really good. And you start changing the world like you have.
Absolutely. You too, though.
See, look at us.
When we first met you at Music Cares, I told my husband, I was like, I love this woman. I was like, she has such amazing energy. You just have angel energy. And you can tell when people are good humans, And my husband just adores you. Like, he's I can't believe Melissa Etheridge is my friend. Like, he's just so excited. Like, he just can't believe it. Him and you and Bon Jovi just blow his mind. The fact that that he can call you guys friends. He's just like, this is amazing to me.
He's special too, and you know that. You know that, and he's got that big, wonderful heart. And of course, as his friend, I think about him a lot, and I know what a weird space it can be, and I tell him, and I would tell you too, man, call me. Just
I will. I'm going to call you now.
Please do.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my number because I don't trust him to give it to you.
Yeah, no. I'll get it from you. So moving on, how did we meet Wifey? Because I stumbled upon a really cool, well, it was awesome to me because I'm into astrology and all that stuff. You guys have the same freaking birthday. Like, only 2 Geminis would find love in each other. I mean, I think that's hilarious because you guys are either exactly alike or you guys are opposite ends of the spectrum. Are you guys exactly both? Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with, I met her 3 years ago. 2001.
Wow.
So 23 years ago. She is a television creator, writer, producer.
Yay.
She was
Boss Mama.
She was Boss Mama big time.
Love
She was the showrunner for the 70s show, that 70s show.
Oh, awesome.
And went on. She's created Nurse Jackie, and she's a pioneering
That's amazing.
woman. Yeah, that's what she does.
I love that. I love that. Nurse Jackie was huge,
yes,
dude.
It was.
That's amazing.
One of the first thing to ever really deal with, opioid abuse. First show that ever talked about it. So she called me in because she was doing a new show called the 80s Show. And she called me in because she liked my work and respected me and thought I would be, it was a character that ran a music store. And she just really wanted to base this show on so I came in, met her, instantly it was like, they offered me the part and I was touring and the money didn't, and I couldn't, and I was like, oh God, I can't do it. But I really liked her. And this was back in the early 2000s before they had reality shows. It was
Right.
like reality shows were about to come in. And I remember sitting at a table because we said, let's do something together, you know? And she saw how very interesting my life was and was like, man, if we could just have a couple cameras around your life. I was like, that's weird. And then the Osbournes came out right after.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, they took that idea, you know?
Yeah.
But it was in the ether. But so we were best friends. She became my best friend because we were so much alike.
Aww.
And we loved football.
Yeah.
We were humongous.
Who's the teams?
She's a Packers fan, Green
Okay,
Bay Packers.
gotcha.
She was born in Wisconsin, grew up in Illinois, but remained a Packer fan.
Gotcha.
I grew up in Kansas, so I am a Kansas City
Chiefs,
Chiefs fan, and I am
baby.
enjoying life very much these last few
Oh,
years.
for sure. My
Yes.
husband thinks they're going to go to the Super Bowl
Well,
this
of
year.
course. I think your husband and I should go to the Super Bowl.
Let's do it. We
Let's
could all
do
go.
it. Oh, my
That'd be
God.
amazing.
It's in Vegas.
Is
no,
it?
no, it's not. It's in New Orleans.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It was in
yeah,
Vegas
yeah.
last year.
Yeah,
it's in
yeah,
New
yeah.
Orleans. Yeah. So we were best friends. She helped me through cancer as my friend. She saw me through the hard times in my relationship, again, my second marriage. She knew all my children. My children loved and adored her, especially my oldest.
Good.
When I went through my spiritual change, she was one of the only one that would listen to me and was interested and understood. And we were extremely close as best friends. Then when my marriage fell apart, she was working on Nurse Jackie in New York, and she was selling her house. And I was like, well, come stay with me. You know, my wife's gone, and I have no housekeeper, and I have 4 children, and I'm a single mom. And so she came and stayed, and the thought had crossed her mind that maybe we might take a step further. I was like, I suck at relationships. I'm horrible. I'm never going to be in a relationship again. And no, but be my friend and help me.
Yeah.
And for months, she would get up with me. She would make the lunches for all 4 kids. She would help me
that's a
with the
good
breakfast.
one.
She would until one and every night after they went to bed, we'd sit and talk.
Yeah.
And just our relationship was this like this. And
Pure.
then one day, little ones were running around. The 2-year-olds were running around, and we had changed some things in the kitchen. And I was like, "Where are the sippy cups?" And she looks at me and she goes, "Well, dear," and I went, because it went inside, and all of a sudden that was the click of, man, I'm finally having the relationship with a person, this home relationship that I always wanted, that I could count on, someone who I knew could help me with my children, all these things. And I find her attractive. Oh no, what am I going to do now? And I didn't want to mess up our friendship, but she was like, she
Did you always love? Did you love her?
Oh, yeah. And I didn't know just how deeply, because I was in my own relationships and drama and whatnot. So, but yeah, I guess my soul did.
Yeah.
And it has never, because soon we found out our differences, which were very good, and worked together. And
Yeah.
And the sexual part of the relationship has been better than I've ever had in my life. And
Fire.
I had no idea. I had no idea. And it's been, how many years have we been together? 10, 15?
10 together,
4,
Oh my goodness.
15. I forget, when you get to a point,
Yeah.
But they didn't let us get married till 10 years ago, so we're married 10 years.
I love that. Isn't it amazing when you find that person?
Oh.
It just happens.
And I think it happened because I finally got myself into a place of, because I used to believe, I had to have that beautiful, straight-looking, smart, not smart, but beautiful and straight, because those were things I didn't feel, and I felt I needed that. And I would fall in love with the look and just hope they fit later. And that was no way to do it.
Disaster. Yeah.
And finally, I've had this solid relationship with a person, and I'm like, oh, I can fall in love with that.
You can fall in love with a soul.
With a soul.
That's how it is with my husband. I just love his soul.
And I loved myself enough
Yes.
to see that, no, it's about me being happy. This person makes me so happy.
To be together that long and to still feel that way, what is your guys' secret? If you could give anybody relationship advice, like what's one key thing?
I say this because we say it to each other all the time because we understand it. You have to love yourself as much as you want the other person to love you. You have to take care of yourself as much as you want to take care of your partner. And you know, and you want them to take care of you. You have to, there are certain things that it's not about the other person doesn't fill you up. You have to fill you up. And then that joy allows all this happiness. We can't save our partners. We have to be a light in ourselves. She went through a health thing a couple years ago, and I knew it's like, okay, I can't get sick enough to make her well. I have to be well. I have to be enjoying my career. I have to be loving where I'm going so that I can be a light so that she can
Raise up.
be inspired by that. That's what we do. We inspire each other. She inspires me. Oh my God, there's so many times I fall down a deep hole and she's like, "Are you crazy? You silly girl." She doesn't go down there with me. She stays up, and because we fill ourselves up, we are there for the other one.
That's powerful. I love that. That's amazing. That's so real too. Because I feel like people get lost in each other when they get into, and that's
Well, they think that's love.
right.
We were raised with that. We were raised with mothers that said, "You have to take care of me."
Yes.
If you do this, I'll die. And we think that we have to be something for somebody else to be okay. Boy, you have to change that, because that will make you sick.
No, that's how Jay and I are. We love each other immensely, but we also make sure that we each have our own separate things to where it's like we're each other's rocks in different ways. It's like if he falls down, I lift him up. If I fall down, he lifts me up.
Great.
And that's really the way you have to do it. You have to be steadfast in yourself to be able to maintain a relationship for a long time. We've only been together 8 years. You guys have us way beat.
Still, eight's good.
Eight's listen, I don't know how we've made it this long. I always tell everybody, they're like, "Congratulations on 8 years." I'm like, I think you need to congratulate him on surviving.
Yeah. And you know what? We do it every day, and we just learn more every single day.
Yeah.
This is a practice. We're supposed to get it wrong.
Yeah.
And there's not even wrong. You can't get it wrong because you can always do it more. There's
and you
always
learn.
the next
you learn.
moment.
You live and
Yeah.
you learn. And I really truly believe friendship is a huge basis for any relationship.
Yeah.
Because my husband and I are friends before we're lovers.
That's exactly us. And we always say, or she'll say to me, she goes, "Gosh, I love your girlfriend now."
Aw.
Because she used to. Anyway.
Yeah.
You
Gotcha.
know. I'm not going to explain the joke.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Moving on from the love story, let's talk about this docuseries.
Oh, man. Yes. Growing up in Leavenworth, Kansas, actually, when I was 7 years old, Johnny Cash came to the prison that was 3 blocks from my house. I could see it from the backyard.
Wow.
Yes, the federal penitentiary. It was a big part of Leavenworth. It's just, it was part of my childhood. And there it was, and he came, and none of us got to see him. Nobody but the prisoners.
Aww.
And I thought, prisons must be a place of fine entertainment. I want to do that. So I started with that as a child. But then later, when I did go in with some variety groups and these crazy things that I did go in to entertain, I saw everyday people. They're all in the same clothes.
Yeah.
And, you could tell that, they were here and they weren't incredibly happy. But I saw people who were fed by entertainment and joy and music, and how much it did. And they were so enthusiastic for anything they saw. I would sing, and it was the first time an audience was like, "Yes!" 100 people, 200 people, to a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
Wow.
That's just insane, though, that they even allowed a 12-year-old in a prison.
I know. Believe me, you don't know
wild.
how insane it is. It's crazy, but it really happened. And I went into the women's prison, which was the first time I was like, looked at the audience, and I thought this was the women's prison. It's the first time I saw women, masculine women, and it kind of blew my mind. And then went into the state penitentiary. I went into the Army penitentiaries there.
Yeah.
Played in every single one of those. And have always, in the back of my mind, thought of it. As a matter of fact, in the early 90s, I was friends with Tammy Wynette.
Aw.
She was a beautiful woman, and we both had a desire to go play at a women's penitentiary. And we were talking to HBO about going to one in Virginia that was run by women, and it was a women's penitentiary. And then she got sick and died. And so I had almost done it in the 90s. And so it's always has been in my mind that I wanted to go back into a prison. Well, now my life goes on. I lose my son. I become very involved with finding alternatives to pain reduction and to opioid addiction. And I go in, I finally get the opportunity, Paramount Plus, MTV say, yeah, we'll do this. And Sun Records, they paid for the album. I've got a live album now out on Sun Records, which I've never had a live album, and I'm so thrilled about it. And the concert was the Topeka Correctional Facility. Finally found the warden, a female warden who, she's so good that she is now in charge of all the wardens of Kansas.
Wow.
Yeah, she has been promoted. She's so good because she understands that their punishment is their freedoms taken away. It's not up to her to punish them more in the prison.
That's so amazing.
It's rehabilitating them and getting them out.
Yes.
So she says yes. When we come ask, can we do a concert? She's like, yes. I say, how long? She goes, how long you want? I say, I'm going to curse, and they're going to get really excited because that's what I do to an audience is bring people up. And she's like, go ahead. I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yay.
And it changed my life. And because so many of those women are in there because of crimes committed to feed their drug addiction, I related. And I got to tell you, there's a moment when I'm on stage and I'm talking to the crowd, these women who have lost their freedom. They are in there. They are working hard to try to get their lives together. And, joy is hard to find. And I'm start telling them about my son and how I had lost him. And the outpouring of empathy and caring, every one of them put the little hearts over their heads. No, I was like this wave of empathy from an audience that surely, has had so much happening. They don't even see their children. And it really showed me that people are people, and we all have the same makeups, and we all have our own times that we got to go through our stuff. But there they were, just being empathetic and delightful. And it really, I can't wait for you to really sit down with it. And
Oh,
have
we
a good
are.
time
We're
with
gonna.
it.
We
Okay.
I told you we have a 14-hour trek. We're gonna watch it, and it's available on
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. Okay, and it's called "I'm Not Broken." Where did
Yeah.
you come up with that title?
Well, there's a couple things. I in the movie I write them a song.
Right.
And I met them. I really felt like I didn't want to write a song that was like feeling sorry for them. Any sad. Oh, the green grass at home or something. Like
Right.
that. I didn't want to make them sad.
Right.
Right. And I'm like, I want to lift them up. I want them to see what power they have, and that where they are did not define where they're going.
Yeah.
And so I wanted a rock and roll song. I wanted a song that we could do a call and response to, and just lift people up. And I was like, what are the things I want to say? I want to say I'm a burning woman. So the name of the song is I'm a Burning Woman. And I was with a friend of ours, a director, Amy Tinkham. She had directed my Broadway show, and she had just been researching Bob Marley because she did his show in Vegas, and she had been to this mountaintop with this reggae Rastafarian man, and this take her to the priest, and the priest just looks at her and says, "You're not broken." And it just healed her. She was like, oh, didn't know that was a belief. And she came home, and when she said, "I'm not broken," I was like, that's it. That's exactly what I want to say. So the chorus is, I'm a burning woman, I'm not broken. I'm a burning woman, I am worth it. And that's what I wanted to leave with them. So the Paramount and we all agreed that the name of the thing would be I'm Not Broken. That you're not broken, you're just learning.
Have you ever stopped to think that song is kind of like an affirmation?
Oh, all of my songs are 100%
Yeah.
affirmation.
Just listening to that.
For myself. No, it is, there's just as much healing going on for me
Yeah.
as there was in the crowd.
Yeah.
And that song, I love singing it every night.
Yeah.
Even if people don't know it, it's the only song I've ever cursed in.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh. I love that.
You know, and so I tell the
We're
audience, I
getting
said,
spicy.
I know, getting spicy. There's some strong language in this. And I
love
just, you know, singing it and just bringing it, and it's definitely an affirmation. I'm not broken, and I am worth it, and I sing that to myself every single night.
I love that. And you guys have to check it out. It's on Paramount Plus.
Please do.
We're going to watch it while we're driving from LA to El Paso in the next few days. So I can't
Sweet.
wait. I'll text you because I'll have your number.
That's right.
I'll be like, hi, Melissa. I watched it. This is your new BFF. I'm just
Yay!
gonna, we'll have a
Oh,
group
you have
text.
no idea.
We'll have a group chat.
You're not going to get rid of us now. We're going to be all over you.
I love it. And let's talk about, you have a tour and an album dropping, and then I'll let you out of here because
Okay.
I've kept you for so
Yes.
long.
No, the live album is I'm Not Broken. It's
Yes.
it's the live album. It's a double album set, just like in the 70s.
Yes.
Like Peter Frampton. It's this concert. It's got the hits on it, but it's also
You're
has
bringing
some
it
deep
back.
tracks that I really wanted to bring to the women about, you know, transformation and fear and darkness and these things. And the tour I'm on, I'm always on tour because that's what I love to do.
Yeah. You're like my
I-
husband. You guys just live in a bus.
I can do that.
That's what my
If
husband
it wasn't
too.
for my children, might not,
Yeah.
because my wife comes with me, and we're like, it's what it's all about.
I love that. Me too. I have my own bus though.
Oh, smart.
I was like, you're not putting me on a bus with 11 dudes. Not happening.
Okay, well, there's four dudes four dudes
Yeah.
on our bus and us two, so it's okay. I have a small
I
band.
love it, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going out doing some dates on my own. Well, I've just got about 6 weeks left, I think, and then some dates with Jewel. But this summer I did some dates with the Indigo Girls, and they were great.
Oh,
it was huge.
that's
It was
awesome.
really
I didn't know they
great.
were still together.
Yeah, they've we're all coming together. It's a big like 90s fest.
That's
and I
so-
think
you
we're
guys
going to
should
do
do a
some more.
90s
I think
fest.
we're going to do I
Remember,
know.
what was it? Lilith Fair. Do you remember
Yes.
that?
What do you think? I want to know your definition of what Lilith Fair was.
I went one year, and I
Okay.
forget who was playing because I was so.
Yeah.
My definition of Lilith Fair was like just a bunch of powerful women who got to go and bring other women together,
Yeah.
and like that's why we went, because it was so. I've always been like woman power, you know.
I never played Lilith Fair. That's another thing, but I do think there's another like all female powerful something coming.
Yeah, it needs to come back around, and we need to have powerhouses like you, Stevie Nicks,
Boom.
like just everybody,
Yeah.
just go and perform. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I might
Yeah.
show my titties because I'll be excited. Because I'll be
Yay.
super excited, and it's gonna be all women there anyways.
Come on.
Yeah, I think maybe we need to design that. Let's do it. Let's
All
set
right.
it up.
All right.
Melissa, thank you so much for coming, and just being able to sit down with you for this past hour and a half has been just a blessing.
My pleasure. You are a delightful woman, and I am just blessed to be in your presence. Thank you.
Listen. You guys all want to make out because we can.
Yeah.
I'm bringing wifey into this too. So you guys, I gotta let you go because Bailey is getting married. You are heading out
She's
to
her engagement party, which is a thing they do nowadays. Yes, I guess. I never had an engagement party, but okay.
It's gonna be so. How cool
Yeah.
is that to have you as a mother-in-law, though?
Oh,
Dude.
she puts up with it. You know, kids are kids. No matter how famous you are, no matter who you
Yeah.
are, what you do, you still are. You can still let them down. You can still not perfect.
No, I get it. I totally
No,
get it.
you know.
We got our daughter at home, and sometimes she's like, "I'm just, can you guys just turn it off?"
Yeah, right.
I'm like, "What do you mean?"
I know.
Fell through a couple of holes today.
Yeah, like we're good now.
good.
We're fine. Everything's great.
Aw.
No.
Well, thank you guys again for being here, and I'm so happy I got to meet wifey too.
Oh yeah.
And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Dumb Blonde. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.